Um. Okay, before I get into my low, my high, my active kindness, I have to say, what do you say to just a night of just overall great AGT acts? Then again, it's the semifinals, so yeah, they needed to step up their game, and they all did. But I'll get to that momentarily. So, my low, my high, my act of kindness. Let's see. What was my low? What was my low? What was my low? I don't know. I guess my low was like when I first got back, my backpack strap got caught in the door. That was because I take my backpack and laptop with me in case of emergencies. And they got like stuck on the door handle as I was walking in. That wasn't cool. Well, my high yesterday was made myself one of my favorites, mac and cheese. And I was able to watch America's Got Talent last night, so mac and cheese and AGT. That's pretty awesome. That was awesome. And my act of kindness. What was my act of kindness? What do you think about that? So, I want to say my act of kindness is one thing I really wanted to talk about today after I talk about America's Got Talent, but that doesn't really count. So, what was my act of kindness? Nothing more than the usual, helping my grandmother when she needed help. So, yeah, I'll just say that I helped out my grandma yesterday. I mean, I do it a lot, but, you know, it's always nice to do. Plus, I mean, you guys know me at this point. I love my grandma. So, can't really take that away from you now, can you? So, right. Good morning and happy hump day, everybody. Yeah. Every single act I saw last night was incredible. And the sad part is they have to narrow it down to 5. Now, of the acts I saw last night and throughout this entire competition, you guys know at this point, the 2 acts I've been rooting for the most have been Alan Silva, who's that little person who's the aerialist, and the Spyros Bros. Those guys are so cool. And the fact I got to see them both perform last night, man, you couldn't ask for anything better. Although, even though I'm very certain Alan Silva will move on, I'm actually kind of worried about the Spyros Bros. They may have had... Now, it's possible that the errors that they had in their performance, like literally dropping like their little glowing ball, it is possible that maybe that was staged, which, yeah, that happens. But on the off chance it wasn't, I really hope it doesn't keep them from moving forward. I would love to see both Alan Silva and the Spyros Bros make it to the finals. That would be incredible. But it is what it is. So, yeah, sorry I don't really have time to go into further detail about, I mean, I really could, but today's actually a very important day. So, yes, I mean, the title of this video is still going to be AGT thoughts, roughly. But also, again, today is a very important day. Well, you're probably wondering why. Well, for my area, today is the first day of school. I always went back to school the first Wednesday after Labor Day. The Wednesday after Labor Day. I almost said the first Wednesday in September, but that's not usually the case. Well, maybe it is. Yeah, so it's always the first one. It's always the Wednesday after Labor Day. That is when I always went back to school. And that's when people in my area went back to school. So, having done this particular video for the last 2 years, actually, the first time I did it, I didn't even really mean to talk about it, but, going back to school really is something everyone goes through as a kid. So, it'd be wrong for me to not talk about this, sort of like a PSA, if you will. So, where to begin? Well, foremost, yes, summer vacation is technically over. And yes, it is nothing short of sad, especially if you're a kid. Believe me, I know. In fact, the first day of 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, for me, I cried on every one of those days. 7th grade had to have been the worst. Partly because, at least, should you guys not know this, I'll explain now. For the entire time I went to elementary school, and this is before they put 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade together, I went to St. Mary Mother. And I went there from kindergarten all the way up to 6th grade. Now, 4th grade, I had a particularly very hard-nosed, very no-nonsense, kind of cold yelling teacher. It had traumatized me so much that I was genuinely convinced that that was what every teacher I was going to have was going to be like going forward. Now, obviously, knowing now what I didn't know then, that wasn't the case, but I didn't know that then. So, yeah, first day of 5th grade, first day of 6th grade, I cried my eyes out. But in spite of all that, at least I was going back to a familiar place, that being St. Mary Mother. 7th grade was not the case, as it was my first day of middle school. And I was going to be in a completely different new building. And don't get me wrong, most elementary schools around the time they enter, the grade before they enter intermediate or middle school, or in some cases intermediate school now, they visit the school they're potentially going to go to. They look around, they see what class they're going to be like, they see what some of the teachers are, etc. So, needless to say, you would think I would have been, physically, yes, I was technically prepared to go. Got my school supplies. I had seen what the inside of Horseheads Middle School was like, so I wasn't going to be completely blown away by what I was looking at. But emotionally, I wasn't ready. Because seriously, 4th grade was actually so traumatic for me that, I'd have nightmares about going back to school. Legitimate, oh no, summer vacation's over. It just feels like we started summer vacation and now I'm back to school. I don't want to be here type nightmares. In fact, one felt so incredibly real because I felt because in this nightmare I had, it was cold and dark and rainy. And it turns out I didn't sleep underneath the covers that night. That's why it felt so real. So needless to say, I was going through a lot of emotions on those 3 first days of school. And to be perfectly honest, I'm trying to remember why it didn't happen in 8th grade going on. Maybe because, I've said this before, it was around 7th grade my parents made a very bad decision for me that really wasn't good for me in any way, shape, and form. Maybe I just grew completely numb to everything else. I don't know. But, I eventually would get over the sadness of the first day of school. And I had realized that, going to school is a part of life. It is. It's a part of life that we all don't really like. We're almost certainly not looking forward to. And I will never, if children, any kids who are watching this right now, if you're like crying on the first day of school, or if you just feel an overwhelming sadness, believe me, my heart is with you. You have every right to feel this way, but you gotta go to school. You need your education. So as not to leave you feeling hanging, here is my advice. Not just for the first day of school, but school going forward. And yes, I know with COVID-19 and all school proceedings are going to be like, some are virtual, all that stuff. But some of this does apply to that. So take this as you will. Foremost, do your best to try going in with a positive attitude. You'd be amazed how far a positive attitude will take you on a day like today. Second, and very importantly, go to all of your classes and make sure you get there on time. Believe me, today is your first day of school. You want to make a good impression. Not just for your peers, not just for your teachers, but for your peers as well. You'd be amazed how much respect you get when you actually try and be good at doing schoolwork. And speaking of doing schoolwork, do all of your schoolwork. Yes, I know it's boring. Yes, I know it's tedious. And believe me, there are days where it's hard. You don't want to do it. It's no fun. I will be the one to tell you it is no fun. But I'm going to let you in a little secret. Every adult you will ever see or you will ever meet, me including, well, you don't actually meet me, but you're seeing me, has had to do it. They were a kid just like you at some point. They had to go through all the motions. They had to try their best to get their 8 hours of sleep. They had to try and get all their schoolwork done. And no, it's no fun at all. But that's one of the reasons why the weekends were always such a godsend. Because you needed those days off. And even on days like Columbus Day, for instance, which is about a month from now, believe me, a day off from school will be exactly what the doctor ordered. So it's hard, but you have to do it. And you know what? If I can say another thing as well, not every day is going to be bad. Believe me, you're actually going to have some days that are pretty darn good. I know I did. You're going to probably have some classes that you're going to like. I actually tried to enjoy all my classes, but, there are definitely some classes I gravitated more towards than others. Choir, music, math, stuff like that. I really was always a well-rounded individual, so nothing really affected whether I liked it or disliked it. And believe me, when it comes to the teachers, you're going to have some teachers you're not going to like. I know I have. In fact, again, 4th grade. But admittedly, while I have had teachers that are definitely weaker than others, I really only had one bad teacher after 4th grade. And that wouldn't be until I got all the way to Trinity Pauling. So, I'm 9, 10 years old around the time 4th grade's going on. I'm 18, 19 years old around the time I'm at Trinity Pauling. So, almost a whole decade, that's a pretty good ratio. But then again, I could just be incredibly lucky about that. Maybe you won't be as lucky. Or maybe you'll be the most lucky of all and not have any bad teachers that you don't like or something. That can happen. But more often than not, that's not how life works. But we do all kind of wish it does, right? So, all I can say is... Oh, sorry. Your screen off. There we go. I lost the ambient lighting there. So try getting your 8 hours of sleep every day. Honor all school-related commitments you have, whether it's, theater or sports or anything like that. Try your best. Do all your schoolwork. Be sure to get to all your classes on time. Try and have good behavior toward your teachers. You'd be surprised how, again, today's your first day of school. You want to try and make a good impression. I know I do. I know I always try to do that. And believe me, there are going to be days there are going to be classes where you first have where you're just going to be completely stiff as a board. Not that kind of stiff. The other kind where, you're frightened and really, really nervous. Believe me, no class made me feel that way more than senior year. Oh yeah, I had that. I experienced those emotions even when I was a senior in high school. Oh yeah. It was actually second semester of senior year, so I was almost completely out the door, metaphorically speaking. For the record, it was drama class. Although, that was really more over to the fact that, I had one of the most legendary teachers of Horseheads High School history as my drama teacher. Combine that with the fact I'm trying to make a good impression, and I, at the time, was the only boy in that class. Again, I don't think I moved an inch in terms of being relaxed for the first 2 weeks. Because again, I'm the only boy in a class full of girls. I am not kicking that hornet's nest, metaphorically speaking. Then again, I had a lot of legendary teachers at my time at Horseheads. My drama teacher, my archaeology teacher, my global teacher. The list goes on and on. Some of you who are from Horseheads know exactly who I'm referring to. So, yeah. Today will be a day that is a whirlwind of emotions. But you can get through this. You got this. I had to go through it, and I persevered. And should any children be watching this, you can do it. You can do it too. And if you need any advice, you can go to your parents. Believe me, if I'm telling you this happened, I'm a random stranger. It's likely I'm a random stranger and you have no idea who I am. But you can always go to your parents. They'll tell you more often than not exactly the sort of things I'm telling you right now. And believe me, it will ring true. In fact, I may very well bring up some memories your own parents had. So, yeah, it rings even more true. So, to that I say, have a good day. Look to your parents for advice. Try your best. Have fun, or try and have fun. You know what? It's likely you're going to be surrounded by your friends. Your friends are going to the same school you are, right? Try and hang with them if you can. It's nice to have friends in high places. It always helps. Sorry if it feels like I'm getting kind of emotional, but this is an important day. It really is. Because it's the first day of school. You're probably in other parts of the country where you already started school, so you can feel free to ignore this video altogether. But should today be your first day of school, have fun, do your best. And, the weekend, it's already hump day, so the weekend's going to be here before you know it. So you can have that to look forward to. And, yeah. That should be about all I have to say about this back to school public service announcement, or PSA, if you will. So, like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button, follow me on the social media platforms, turn on notifications on YouTube. I am very humbled to make this video for all of you guys who watch and enjoy it today. And hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful hump day. And should today be your first day of school, I hope you have a wonderful first day of school. Of course, if you already started school, I hope you have a wonderful day anyway. And remember, if any of you guys want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I'll always have your back. Take care, And whether it's your first day of school or just life in general, make good choices. See ya. Oh yeah, my perspectives in drugs teacher, that's another legendary teacher I had at Horseheads. And a few gym teachers as well. See ya.